On the 504th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was mostly concentrated in Bakhmut front, where Ukrainian forces have a slight advantage in the northern part of the front. On Zaporizhzhia front, when the Ukrainian forces are on the offensive and reportedly have reached the first trenches of the Russian defensive line, as well as in the Kreminna-Svatove front, where Russian forces have launched a strong offensive towards Torske, reaching the outskirts of the town. After his meeting with President Biden at the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania, Ukrainian President Zelensky issued a statement in which he said that he was guaranteed that the support of the allied countries for Ukraine would not stop, but it will also depend on the results obtained by the Ukrainian army on the ground. President Zelensky said that a frozen conflict would not be considered a victory for Ukraine because Ukrainians are not ready to give up their territories. While on the two important matters that have to do with a possible timeline for Ukraine's membership in NATO and on the delivery of long-range missiles to Ukraine, there doesn't seem to be a concrete decision from NATO members. However, yesterday some of the most important NATO members, Germany, France, UK and other countries, pledged to continue helping Ukraine with military equipment and to further increase their contribution. South of the Bakhmut front, Ukrainian and Russian sources reported that in the direction of Klishchiivka, Russian forces have launched a counterattack to push Ukrainian troops out of the heights west of Klishchiivka. For the moment, the situation is not very clear as to what is happening in this area, as heavy fighting has been going on for many days and neither side seem to be in full control of these very strategic positions. Fierce battles seem to be taking place at the southernmost part of Bakhmut front, in the direction of Condemn. As seen in this video, a T-90M breakthrough tank of the Russian forces, one of the best tanks that the Russian army has, is first hit by a Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone, and after being damaged, the tank crew quickly leaves as the Ukrainian forces then finish it off by launching grenades from another drone. In Zaporizhzhia front, battles continue in the heights northeast of Robotyne. From Russian sources, it is reported that regardless of the initial losses, the Ukrainian forces of the 47th Mechanized Brigade continued to attack and managed to reach and clear a part of the first trenches of the Russian defensive line in this area. Heavy battles continue in this strategic location. Taking these heights is a necessary step for the Ukrainian forces to then focus on the offensive against Robotyne from several directions. In the last few hours, Russian sources reported on an offensive of the Ukrainian tanks on this part of the front, but without giving many details about the specific location or the results of the offensive. In the following hours, more information about the situation in Robotyne is expected to come, so as the situation on the ground will be clarified. In the Kreminna-Svatove front, the Russian forces have increased the pressure on the Ukrainian defenses by advancing west of Dibrova as well as northeast of Torske. As reported by sources on both sides, the Russian army has advanced along the Torske-Kreminna road and has reached the northeastern outskirts of Torske, about 1 or 2 kilometers away from the town, where they encountered resistance from the Ukrainian Territorial Defense Forces. The battles in this area have been quite fierce, especially during the last 24 hours, but according to the latest reports, for now, Torske remains under Ukrainian control, even though the situation in this area is becoming more difficult for the Ukrainians. In Donetsk front, the battles continue in the direction of Avdiivka. This time, as reported by the Ukrainian source Deep State, the Russian forces tried to attack the Ukrainian positions in Sievierne by organizing an attack with armored units from the direction of Vodiane. According to the geolocated video published by the Ukrainian source, the Russian troops were met by the artillery fire of the 53rd Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian army, and the Russian attack was stopped with significant losses for the Russians, who reportedly lost at least 5 BMP armored vehicles. That's all for today's video. Please don't forget to help the channel grow by liking the video and subscribing, and also for those who want to support the channel, you can visit my Patreon page. Thank you.